know, background and
Well,
experience.
Yeah, we never heard or got any number of reports of the treatment of the teachers.
Mhm.
But I think what I was trying to say was about the treatment of the principals
Yeah,
who had long tenures in the school system. And we lost all of that leadership and experience when all of them resigned at the same time.
mhm. Do you
That took
think
a
that
lot.
has something to do with the fact that in the Jefferson County schools today, there aren't many black people that are in high positions, and you just don't see many teachers,
You
you know?
can get a bigger salary in adjacent counties.
Is that it mainly, the economic reasons?
Well, I think the tradition of black teachers, black, administrators and everything, I think that impacted, the system here, as well as in other parts of the country, because we always read reports about the treatment of black administrators, and there's reports of that the higher level supervisors had told them, no, you aren't going to supervise white teachers. We got reports of that.
Is that right?
So that had quite an impact too.
How recent have been those reports
Well,
coming in?
after desegregation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you still get them?
We don't get them now, no.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But that did roll over. Yeah.
A little effort on your part.
At one time, Jefferson County had the highest percentage of black principals than any county in the state. One time they had three black principals here in Jefferson County. One time. However, the story that very few people are aware of, like Tolbert mentioned, that the county position was they would never have a black administrator over top of any black, over any teachers. Maybe you should let them know, talk what happened, the true story. We brought the Human Rights Commission director here on a Saturday. I never get that. We brought the Human Rights Commission director here. Glad. And with the school, school board chairman, and he more or less told me they had no choice but to hire a black principal. It was because we understand very few people worried that did this. Even the principal no worried we did that. So we worked glad here, and we had our ducks in a row. And he more or less fed right to the school board chairperson.
When was that? What
Back
decade?
in the 70s.
72.
Yeah, it's still different.
72, because it was
Yeah.
married.
What about police brutality? I'm probably like so many people, when you guys would say police brutality, it just was sort of a vague phrase until these films, it's just a total game changer. I've always heard that our police, particularly from Berkeley, West Virginia, a Maryland State Trooper guy, he said when they're chasing a guy and they're at the bridge going to Martinsburg, very often the guy will see the West Virginia cops, and they will turn back and surrender to the Maryland police, because they knew they had a reputation for beating people up. But in other words, police brutality didn't mean anything to me, and you know what it means. Can you comment on that at all? It's a big problem today.
It is.
Sometimes it doesn't matter about color either.
You're right.
So what do you do?
I don't know. I've always been afraid of the police over the years. I don't really trust them too much, especially the state police. I think the state police are worse than the local police because of the things that have happened over the years. I think they just get crazy, and they don't mind beating. Now, local police, we have some bad ones that get gun happy and want to shoot. But I think just the mentality of some of the law enforcement people who really hard. So we have had our run-in with the law enforcement. And all my life, I haven't, you know, I've been threatened many times, but only once in my life I ever been really knew I was gonna be shot. And that was by law enforcement in Jefferson County. I really thought that the sheriff was gonna kill me one night. And this was back in 1972, 71, something like that. There was a black fellow in jail down in Jackson Old Jail. And Robert Carr called us up and told us, this is the dead of winter, almost zero out. And he said he got this black guy up there in jail with nothing.
Boy.
Oh, black boy?
Yeah, he was a student.
Student in jail with something with his shorts on. We got in and sure enough, that's all he had. We called the county commissioner from Shepherdstown. He came over, and so he went upstairs with us and also with the sheriff. And the county commissioner was upset that this boy was sitting in jail. It was cold, it was actually cold, and this boy had on just a pair of shorts. And nothing little either, no nothing. And the sheriff got mad that we had the county commissioner there. He pulled out his gun. And I just knew that he was going to shoot us up there at night, and he had the county commissioner back him up. That is the only time in my life I have ever been afraid. You know, I've been threatened many, many times, but, you know, we chased off the road, but I've never, ever been afraid of being killed. So that one night, that sheriff was going to, I just knew and talked, kept my mouth from working, and I was trying to tell him, quiet down, let's just get down these steps. And I knew he was going to shoot me in the back going down the steps. And he would have this white county commissioner back him up. I assumed, that was my mind. But I was so glad once I got out of the yard. So I guess it's just a law enforcement mentality.
Are there other major areas that you think still exist that have civil rights problems outside of law enforcement?
Well, I think one of the carryovers of the problems might be at the voter registration box. And I think that we need more blacks in public office, just to see what's going on, follow the history of what had been going on. I think that's, you know, very, very important because of the visibility of and perception that segregation and discrimination and everything is coming back from some of the people that are representing us in the state and in the Congress, of course, in the Senate. So that's something I think we ought to be concerned about, and I don't know that if it's all gone away, you know, all of the segregation, discrimination is gone away. And I think we saw demonstrations of that last night, of things that, how people think that they aren't being treated fairly. And there's, in the back of a lot of minds of black folks is that this gun thing is meant to say, you better have a gun. You better have a gun. And then we see some of our presidential slogans, instead of being making America great again, make America white again. We're hearing that. So all of that is, I think, is resurrecting, you know, days gone by, but it's still here. So it could come back, you know, very, very easily. Very, very easily.
We still get complaints, civil rights case. As a matter of fact, we still get on average about maybe 8 or 9 complaints a month. Right, we just got one last week. This lady was a manager of a store here in this area. The manager for over a year. The store was sold to somebody else. This woman kept managing for about maybe 2 months, and then they decided to get rid of her. They had good reputation, and then no problem. And then all of a sudden he got rid of her. And she was the only black person working in the store, so they got rid of her. And so she filed a complaint. And here's the problem: the store only hired about maybe 6 people. And the human rights law, you have to have at least, I think, either 10 or 12 people go to file a complaint. So what happened? Nothing took place. You know, we had cases of federal employees that are being harassed on their job. And you know, you hear what happened in the federal government. You know, the IRT do very low. If you get harassed, you just get harassed. You file a complaint, and then your name is mud. Doesn't pay to file a complaint. Yeah, we get complaints. At least on a month we probably get about 15 to 20 complaints. And it's an amazing thing, like I said, about 10 of them are white females. We are getting some from the LGBT organization now. They get messed over. Yeah, we still get complaints.
I think too, in addition to that, what feeds into civil rights discussions are guns again. We don't know where that's going to take us. But then voter ID, and that takes us back to the old situations they had down in Virginia and Tennessee and places like that. So I think that that's going to probably resurrect a lot of discussion and probably action in various communities in various states in the coming years. This voter ID is very, very bad. And of course, your guns, I think we were just talking about somebody in a nearby town who has an army vehicle with a...
Right. The mounted machine gun.
50 elevator machine.
Right.
I've seen that, yeah.
No one
So-
ever thought of writing a regulation for that.
Well, he might have in his garage a Persian tank. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. So I don't think that it's over as much as we think that it's over. And we see what's happening in you know, black communities, Chicago and all of these communities every week. There are people dead, not from your AK-15s, but just from, you know, just regular pistols. So there's still a lot of undercurrent, I think, that's going on, and dissatisfaction with our legislative bodies.
You talk about civil rights. You know, a good example is, you know, who do you turn to for protection? That would scare us. That would scare me. Who do you turn to? The federal. You know, one time we would go to the federal government for relief, but now the federal government don't give you that much relief. You know, whether it's right or wrong, but look what happened up in Martinsburg. This fellow got shot 23 times.
Right.
We saw the film. We had a copy of the film. We still got a copy. Nowhere in the world, you know, you have to shoot a man 23 times to stop him. After they tased him, after they had him down, he was down. And he was, you know, attempting to get up, and then it backed up and it just fired right down. And I can, you know, I can't see shooting once or twice, you know, but if you shot once or twice, you know, I may buy it. But when you're shooting 23 times, you're going to load your pistol, and, you know, that's cold-blooded murder, as far as I don't think. And what makes it so bad is that he's found innocent. I mean, the policeman found innocent. But then who investigated it? The Western United States Police. And who trained the people who shot the police officers? The Western United States Police trained the people, so they sure not going to come back and say these guys didn't follow the guidelines that they gave them. And then the federal government come in. What the federal government do, they more or less whitewash the whole thing and say, yeah, we go along with what the, no offense, what the federal government never really investigated, just took the state's word for it. Because the federal government don't really have the manpower to handle the case. Because there are hundreds and hundreds of cases just like Martinsburg all over the country, and the federal government just cannot investigate it.
You just defund them, you know, underfund them.
And there's nothing the state can do. John over here can tell you, the state don't have money to handle the little bit of business they got, so they can't do nothing personal they can do. So we're in bad shape.
But we're fortunate to have the three of you who are willing to share with us your history and begin this dialogue. Because, if we don't know these stories, if we don't know this history, then there is that potential that it will be repeated. So it's important to continue these dialogues and to make everybody aware of, if you're not on guard, what it can be like. So thanks to all three of you for your time and wisdom.
It's good to see your son on the town council.
Oh, okay.
Just a sideline, I mentioned about the fraternal groups, I mentioned about the Galilean fishermen, and they also had females also join it. Well, I just so happened last night I found the membership card to go back to 1908. Man and wife membership card. They get $35 cents a week. You done seen it before?
I've seen it.
They always get the picture of one of them back in that day.
Did anybody have any other questions, or?
One more question
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
wrap it up. So like walking into today, I think it was probably, I might have made it up, I might have read it. Had the kind of a maybe perhaps like narrow view, like talking about Reconstruction almost as a time period, late 1860s, 1870s, period, done. But the conversation today has been much broader than that. So I wanted to ask three of you, I know we're running out of time, but each one of you kind of, how do you think of the term and idea of Reconstruction?
You mean here?
Here, yeah.
Overall.
Kind of both. I'm always locally interested.
Reconstruction
Yeah.
here was not like it was in the South. We didn't have the carpetbaggers and the scallywags and all that type of stuff that they had in the South. Because people here usually stayed with the people that had owned them. And they stayed right in this area. And they didn't have all of the, I forget I don't know what term that they had in the South when the Confederate soldiers could be returned home and the land was gone, and people were coming there making money off the land, pretending that they're going to do this for these African Americans and kept the money themselves. No, we didn't go through any of it. And I think that is a history within itself that has to be told. If I answered your question.
Reconstruction, I guess, always been on way called Reconstruction, talking about physical stuff or other things. I guess where I see it, we are still going through a stage of Reconstruction right now. We will be going through it for years to come. The mere fact that people are here today sitting and listening and talking like this is more or less like a phase of Reconstruction. The mere fact that you're getting the knowledge that we can really help each other to really move forward to make this a real free and safe world for everybody, and we'll all get our fair share. So I think the Reconstruction is an ongoing process.
It's just a term.
Yeah.
I did pass out a packet of information about a new society in town, the Friends of the Red Blessing House. And I thought this would be a perfect opportunity just to talk about that. I know we have about 5 minutes or so. What the purpose of the society is, why we would like you to join us, any questions you might have. But it's pretty much explained on the first page exactly where we see the need to have a support group to help out the Jefferson County Black History Preservation Society in making this into a first-class museum, heritage center, not just for the Black community, but for the entire community, because so much history is involved with that house. Like Doug mentioned the other day, it's a gem in our midst, and its history needs to be told, and so much can come out of it. I think if we come together and see what can be done. So, James, would you, since you're heading it up, would you like to say a few words why you see the need for it in the first place, and what's going on in that house?
Yeah, we, several years ago, purchased a house out on East North Street. And we didn't know what in the world we had. But to make a long story short, we found out that this house was very, very historic, as you'll read, and also the had a direct connection with John Brown. So little by little, we been getting money to fix it up. I think that there's a story about this olive blessing in it. Also about Mr. Webb. So I think that those are things that, along with the Charles Washington House and Happy Retreat, I think that our main purpose was to restore and to make certain that this particular house, particular structure, was not forgotten. So the society felt that we needed another group, another arm to raise funds to bring it into pretty good shape, and that's what we're doing right now. If you read the document that Donna's just passed out, but there's major work's been done over the years. We expect to continue that, but it has its role in Jefferson County history, a very, very definite role. One of the things that we've just added is a slave cabin. We expect to reassemble that slave cabin in the backyard. So, and George has been leading most of this effort on that, and he can tell you a whole lot more about what's been going on there. But even we've had the Dolly Madison Flower Club to come along and plant a flower garden reminiscent of the old flower beds I think we had in earlier years. So we hope that you will take this and read it. And, as they say in church, take it upon your heart, give us a donation for the Webb blessing. We think it's worth, and it's really important that this place be restored because of its place in history in Jefferson County, of course, in Charleston. The American Legion Auxiliary, number 102, they've been very, very instrumental in putting up a military exhibit in that building, and I think the Sons of Confederate, they also have. And one would ask, why do you have Black history, Sons of Confederate, all mixed in? Well, we just say it's history. We aren't trying to advance Sons of Confederacy or anything else. We just said it all comes together right there in that particular house. And we hope that you'll visit it and appreciate it and tell your friends about it. Hopefully one of these years we can have tours on a regular basis in that building. So George, you can add any more.
Nothing you got.
But we do thank Donna for volunteering to help to raise awareness of that particular property, and also to make certain that it's properly cared for in the months and years to come. It's very, very important, I think. Probably one of the most important sites in Jefferson County, and maybe in West Virginia, because it all comes together right there. The Civil War, free blacks erecting and taking care of themselves. And, it's association with John Brown.
And then the association with pre-Civil War days, was
Right.
like slave
Right.
cabs, slave cabin. But there's a lot, I think it's an exciting project. It offers lots of great educational opportunities for the whole community.
Ready?
Any questions?
Hopefully, any questions about the web blessing? As far as we know, it's the only place in West Virginia owned by blacks that has this type of emphasis. A slave cabin and a cottage built by free blacks. Which says a whole lot. We could probably Doug could probably write a volume about it before lunchtime.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And